Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Kevin Brenner with us from Active Duty Passive Income Capital. Maybe Active Duty Passive Income, just specifically not capital, but I'm super excited to have Kevin here on the show. He's here to talk about crowdfunding deals, which is something I know zero about. So I'm super excited to learn a little bit about that. Kevin, thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Hey, Gabe, thanks for having me. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be sharing a lot of content. We're going to be just digging deep into some things that, you know, like you said, a lot of people in the commercial space, they just don't know about. And it's, I would say it's the new wave. From a capital raising perspective, definitely the new wave.
Cool, man. I love new waves. Those are always fun. So let's just jump right into it. And I apologize, everybody. I might trip on my words today because it was a late night last night. And sometimes the brain, you know, I'm getting old. I'm 36 years old. I'm like halfway through it and my brain just starts to fail sometimes.
I severely strained my hamstring playing softball. And I'm 32, and I went to my doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, just welcome to your 30s, dude." And I was like,
"Thanks, doctor."
I was like, "Is there anything you can do?" And they're like, "No,
man,
like you're old. You're old.
You're falling apart, bro. Just get with it."
I was like, "All right, well, that sucks, but."
All right, bringing it back. I told you before we got on the show, we like to start with stories. So why don't you? I'm sure you got a good one. Why don't we take it back to the beginning? How'd you get started in real estate in the first place?
Yeah, man. So my story starts while I was still active duty, right? That's how kind of I got involved with active duty passive income. But before ADPI, I was just I was an Air Force captain, meteorologist by trade, and I had just come back from deployment. And for those of your non-military listeners out there, when you deploy, you get tax-free pay. So every dime that you make, you're making your full salary plus combat pay. I was in a combat zone. You know, I was making a lot of money. And I came back and I did the responsible thing and blew it all on motorcycles and cars because why not? I had no idea. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Right. So finally, a friend of mine, we were playing volleyball together and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, dude, I just closed on my 7th house." And this dude is a first lieutenant. So I outrank him. So I make more money. That's how the pay scale works. And I was like, "No, you didn't, because I pay rent and I have a car payment. You can't have 7 homes. That doesn't make sense." And he was telling me about good debt and he was saying, "Oh, the tenants are paying it down." And he threw me Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I read that book and just like that, you know, my life changed from then on. Fast forward, like 4 months after that, and I'm closing on a quadplex with my VA loan. I got into that deal for, you know, $3,300 and that cash flow from day one. 6 months after that, I'm closing on another quadplex. And then I move up to Washington, D.C. So we renovated those and they're cash flowing like kings right now. I do short-term rentals up here in DC, but all the while I intersected with this community. Not long really after I closed on the first quad, I intersected with this community called Active Duty Passive Income. And I was like, oh my God, I found my people, you know, like they're military, I'm active duty, we're investing in real estate together. And the company had kind of started like a year ago. And I just started, you know, I was so inspired. I just started adding value. Their Facebook group had like 1,000 people in it or something like that, just adding value, adding value, adding value. Finally, the CEO calls me out of the blue and he's like, dude, you just want to work with us?
Nice.
I was like, yeah, like
Yeah,
I
let's do
do.
this.
And that was 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago now. And it's been a rocket ship ever since. We're up to over 60,000 members in our community. We have our first in-person live event in New Orleans this October. We're going to have 500
Nice.
people in a crowded conference room, and it's going to be just amazing. We've launched so many companies, including ADPI Capital, which is what I'm going to talk about because that's the crowdfunding side. But I mean, ADPI is an education company, and we have a nationwide network of realtors. We have a mortgage company. We do all of these solutions and services, and it's all to give back to the military community, and it's just really cool.
Nice, man.
But yeah, ADPI Capital, that is the kind of the new thing, and it's super exciting because it's the intersection of my dreams of becoming a fund manager and on my vision board and working with this awesome team that I've worked with for years now. So it's great.
Nice, man. I love to hear. I love to hear other investors having success because in real estate investing, what is it? The tides rise, all tides, high tide, whatever that quote is, high tides rise all boats or something. If somebody's doing well, then everybody else is doing well. So I love to hear that you guys are crushing it out there. That just goes back to the brain thing, early morning. Awesome, man. You mentioned one thing at the very beginning. You said meteorologist by trade. You just threw that in there. And so I got to ask, you're a meteorologist. That's awesome. Were you ever like a weatherman or anything like that?
Yeah, well, so in the military, yeah, I was my last job. So I got out of the Air Force after 9 years in August of 21. And my last job, I was the Pentagon. I was at the Pentagon and I was the Air Force's pretty much top meteorologist. I was their consultant, so I did
Cool.
global weather support for all the generals and yeah, I was their weather guy, but most of the time they're just looking at their phones anyway. So I saw the writing on the wall. When your career gets taken over by an app on a phone, that's a sign.
That is a sign. So the only question I have there is why are meteorologists not 100% or even 75% accurate with their weather predictions? Like, why is it so difficult to predict weather like 10 days out?
I'll answer your question with a question. Why have you not gotten every NCAA game right on your bracket?
True. All right. I'll back off of that one. Good point. Good point.
No, yeah, it's funny. We have in my old weather shop at the Pentagon in the office, we had a sign that said that, like, when people ask you why you're not right all the time, ask them how they did on their bracket. Because it's
Touche.
like no, but it's it's not an exact science as much as much as they'd like to say it is, but there are a lot of tools out there, a lot of computers that help, but still honing in on the science part.
Yeah. One of these days, I'm sure with the big computers out there, they'll figure it out soon.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing on your story that I want to touch on, you said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm going to start keeping a tally of how many people got started because of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, man. If you guys are just out there, you're just getting started, read that book. It's not going to tell you what to do, but it'll give you a good framework to get into it.
Yeah.
And with that, let's dive right in. You are talking about crowdfunding. You already mentioned it. I know nothing about this, so I'm a layman. Give me the 411. What is crowdfunding? How is it different than other forms of syndication?
Yeah. So traditionally your listeners are probably familiar with syndications, and they take, I remember a syndication is just a syndicate, right? You're bringing a group of people together to tackle a big project. That's essentially what you're doing, right? And from the legal space, when we're talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission regulations and laws, there are two main ways to make this happen. There's, of course, and this is all under filing Regulation D, and there's the 506B and the 506C. So your listeners have probably heard about that. If other syndicators have been on the show, that's what they talk about. And your 506B, just to recap, that's you can raise capital, but you can't really market it to people. You have to have a pre-existing substantive relationship with your investors, but you can raise from 35 non-accredited investors, and typically those projects cap out at 99 investors per project. So, and then of course your 506C is you can market it to the world, but you can only take accredited investors, and of course your accredited investor is it has a net worth of $1 million. Not including their primary residence, or is making $300,000 a year if they're married, $200,000 if they're not. So, higher level, right? So that's kind of the traditional way of getting it done. But in 2015, the SEC changed the law and they opened it up. They opened up a new exemption under Regulation CF and really Regulation A. And Regulation A, wasn't really designed for real estate. It was designed for a lot of tech companies and venture capital because they had a problem. They weren't able to get the capital quick enough before another tech company would make that tech company obsolete because it was just moving so fast. Things are just moving in that industry. So they couldn't raise the capital quick enough. There were too many restrictions. So the SEC said, okay, all right, we understand that the people want to be involved in this and we're going to open this up. But unlike a Regulation D, where you can just, when you're setting up a Reg D, as Gabe, I'm sure you're familiar, you've probably done this before. When you do that, you just raise your hand and say, hey, look, SEC, I am filing a Regulation D. That means I am exempt. You're not actually filing or registering with them. But when you file a Reg A, you actually have to register with the SEC. So you're going back and forth with comments, and so it's a longer process, right?
Right. It's like becoming a publicly traded company.
It's pretty close. They call it a mini IPO. It's not as strict as becoming a public company, but it's pretty dang close. And in 2018, they even opened up the rules even more. And they launched what's called the Reg A Plus. And there's a tier 1 and a tier 2. The most common version is a tier 2. We won't get into that, but it just is. It's easier. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to raise capital from anyone. Accredited, non-accredited, doesn't matter. You can raise capital from anyone. You can market to anyone.
Is there a a lot of them have limits. Is there a limit to how much somebody can put in? Can they put in like $2, or do they have to have a minimum of?
So the minimum, get this, $10.
All right, $10
minimum.
You can do that. My girlfriend and I, we spend that on Starbucks every morning.
I know.
So I can do that.
You can do it. You are in. So the minimum goes down to as low as $10 a share. So it's designed to be super accessible. Now remember, it's the SEC's job to protect investors, right? That's one of their main roles in regulating the markets, to make sure people don't get swindled. So you're doing a lot of this registration requirements, and there's a lot of there's a lot of paperwork. So it's a lot more expensive to set up. For your listeners out there who have syndicated before, they know that to set up a Reg D, 506B, 506C, you're in it for like 10 to 15 grand. Let's get your PPM put together.
Are expensive.
Oh no, but for a Reg A, we're in this right now for 150 grand.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, but it's just a lot more. It's a lot. But get this, not only are you allowed to raise from everyone, and it's really about, honestly, it's about removing the barriers, right? Because for folks who are looking to go into a 506B or 506C, one, they either got to know the person. For a 506B, they have to have a pre-existing substantive relationship. And the truth is, not many people know people like us. They don't. Or if it's a 506C and they don't know the person, they got to be accredited. That's a huge barrier. So by opening this up and removing those barriers, we're talking about, okay, well, do you got, in our case, it's $500 minimum. Do you have $500? You can invest with us. And you don't have to be accredited, so you don't have to worry about that. So there's no like $50,000 minimum that they have to, go through. There's no accreditation standard that they have to go through. And it really, another thing that we've personally done in our model is we've removed all fees. So we don't have a management fee. We don't have, we're not nickel and diamond people, because that's not the point.
Yeah.
So like we're able to set this up the way that we want it, and we're able to really fire up our community, because like I said, we've built the military. Right now we're the largest military real estate investing community on the planet. 60,000 military real estate investors, and they're constantly asking, hey, Kevin, how can I invest with you and Eric and Markion and Adam Labar and Tim Kelly and everyone on the team? Like, how can I get involved? And until now, we would say, well, we can teach you how to do it. Let us teach you. Here's our free content or whatever. And, get involved that way. But now with ADPI Capital, we're able to say, hey, no, you can invest directly with us as long as you got $500. And the cool part is we're reinvesting that fund. So we're putting that fund together, that money is going directly into our military multifamily academy students. We call them our heroes. It's going into their deals. We've trained over 100 syndicators who have all teamed up with each other. They're constantly finding deals. And now those syndicators in our ecosystem have a leg up, because when you, Gabe, you know this, if you go to, you're trying to buy a self-storage facility or something, and you say, oh, by the way, Mr. Seller, I'm a PE backed. They're going to be like, oh, so you're not going to back out on the deal because you don't have funding, and you're not going to be relying on some like sketchy bridge debt like arm thing that's going to be like just crazy with rates going up. Like, no, no.
12% interest.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not going to be, you don't have to worry about that. So it helps our the people that we've trained. It obviously helps our community, and again, it's totally solutions forward, and it's just really exciting, because the other thing that I didn't mention is you can raise from an unlimited amount of investors. You're not limited to the 99. So
nice.
as long as you go through the right processes and you use a transfer agent and all of that stuff, which is more detailed probably than your audience cares about, but you follow the steps and you do it right, by law, we're able to raise up to $75 million in a year.
Okay, interesting. And so you said in a year, can you do that every single year, or do you have to make a new Reg A entity?
We can file,
you
file an amendment, and you kind of just keep it going effectively. Okay. You don't have to file a whole new thing, but you say like, hey, listen, you got to file some more paperwork. And, and like I said, this is a mini IPO, so we got to file quarterly reports. We got to, it's not like your 506C where it's kind of like set it and forget it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing to note is this is a fund. So we're raising the capital effectively in advance to put that money into a deal. And because these things take 6 to 9 months just to set up, I mean, we're in month 6 right now. And we are, we're going back and forth with the SEC and we're getting it worked out. But, it takes longer. And because of that, it's not the ideal solution for like, hey, I want to go and syndicate one project.
Yeah.
Because nothing's going to be under contract for 6 months. Like, good luck.
You just set this up with the intention of buying something. You don't find a property and you're like, okay, I want to buy this property with a crowdfunding capital. Right. You just raise capital and then you go look for properties.
But if you're listening to this podcast right now and you have a community of folks that, you I don't know, or you're like a master networker or something, or, you have a following on social media or in person or whatever. If you're some sort of influencer, this could be the model, because then you can have capital coming in and you're ready to deploy and you're ready to strike.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah. So that was kind of the, what why I started down this road with ADPI Capital. When I talked to Markian and this, the other owners of ADPI, I was like, hey, listen, we need to do this because this is going to be a huge solution for the team.
Yeah, no, especially when you're talking about the influencers, anybody with an audience already. I mean, if you get this, that audience can put in as little or as much as they want, it sounds like, which really opens it up to investors getting involved. Yeah. One question I do have, you said you guys have a $500 minimum. What's the term in terms of how long that money has to stay in the deal? Are they able to pull it out after 1-2 years, or is it until the property goes full cycle?
So there is like most syndications and everything, you do have a 1 year waiting period that you have to stay in it, and then if you want to transfer your money, you got to work through the transfer agent, you got to find another investor to take your spot, and the whole thing. Like, that's just standard. So we consider it like your syndicator would an illiquid investment over a 5 to 7 year term.
Yeah.
But there's other solutions which are exciting in the crypto space, where you have secondary markets already set up, and you can kind of take a fund and make it even more liquid, if you will.
Right. So yeah, I've been I've dabbled in crypto investing myself, but I've lost enough money to know where I should just stick to real estate. But I am super excited. I am super excited to see how it does affect the real estate sphere. Maybe they'll turn it into something almost like the stock market, where you can just buy and sell shares of.
It's already happening. Yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I love everything you've shared. I really appreciate it, but we do have to move on. It looks like we have passed through our time. So I'm going to push us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Starts with books or any form of education. Give me two recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate specific.
Oh, let's see. Well, let's do the general one first. I'm a big fan of marketing. I pretty much, if you guys have followed my story, I looked at Brandon Turner and I said I want to be him. And I've pretty much done everything that he's done to this point. And when I interviewed him, I told him that, and he
He's like,
applauded
thanks,
me.
man.
Yeah,
Did he have the
you're.
beard at that point,
Oh,
or was it
he had like the half beard. Yeah, and now it's just
it's full
yeah, it's
beard? He's
insane.
gone
It's
full
full
man.
beard. Yeah, but so I the book I could recommend there is Known by Mark Schaefer, and he is a tremendous online marketer and just regular marketer, but he talks about how to become known, and how to gather influence and take the steps. And it's pretty interesting. And what was the other one? A real estate book?
Yeah, general life wisdom and then real estate specific.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading. Well, that's not really real estate related, but Traction, by Gino Wickman. I'm going through that now, but I mean, gosh, the one that had a huge influence on me, real estate specific, was The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Love that book, and
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of short stories,
Yep.
and it's not necessary. Well, I mean, I would say it's real estate, but it's
It's
like,
like The Alchemist is
yeah, 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 yeah,
how I
yeah.
say it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I cannot remember the author of that, but it's incredible.
Yeah, that's a really good book. I like any book that puts a useful concept in a story form because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's really digestible, and so it's a good recommendation. All right, I'm going to move us on. This is the next question is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the Kevin who is still deployed, still in the military, thinking about those next steps, go to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Oh man, probably pull your head out of your butt. No, I would
Don't
say,
buy cars.
no. Actually, I love my Ducati, so
Nice, man.
uh,
Jealous.
yeah, but it's not. It's just my vice, speeding. But yeah, no. Honestly, I would say there's there's another way. There's another way to make it in life, and to that point, like many of your listeners, I bet I was stuck in the, kind of in the trap where you go to high school, you get good grades, you go to college, you get, do good, you get a secure job, and in the military, they want you to stay in for 20 years. I mean, my colonel was like, "Wait, you're leaving? You're like a captain with 9 years. Like, you're not going to stay?" And I was like, "No."
I'm out.
It's like, this is boring. So I would tell him that there is another way, and it's it's all about education.
Perfect. I love it. All right, moving along. This is habits form the foundation of our life. So if you could point to one thing you do day in and day out that you feel contributes the most to your overall health, well-being, happiness, and success, what would that be?
Yeah, man, that's got to be it's got to be time blocking.
Mm,
Tim Kelly, one of the founders of ADPI, drilled this into me and showed me how he does his time blocking. And I'm not as good as he is yet, but between that and hooking that up to the project management software that I use, I honestly feel like I have my life back.
yeah,
I'm spending time on things that are driving revenue
yeah,
for my family, and other things I'm not, and it's
yeah.
great.
I really like time blocking. I've been trying to be more disciplined about it recently, and I feel like it really does kind of it makes you focus more, and I that really improves productivity and happiness generally because I'm not dispersed all over the place.
And you don't get interrupted with like calls and stuff, or like people trying to schedule calls. Like, I have a flow zone every morning where it's like, no, this is my time,
Yep.
and it's an hour and a half, and no one's allowed to book calls. Nah.
Yep.
This is me time.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, moving along. This is the next question is for the United States because it's so big, so many square miles out there to invest in. So, what market, what MSA are you most excited in investing in today?
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's with ADPI Capital, we're all over the country because we have our syndicators, everywhere from Florida and Georgia to Texas, those big markets, into Alabama and Mississippi, even the desert Southwest, even as north as kind of Boise, and the Idaho area. They're all over looking for deals. Me personally, I have a portfolio in Georgia. and I do short-term rentals here in the DC area. And for me, my dream is always to become that fund manager and become that solutions provider for the team. So I'd say everywhere, we're looking, we're constantly looking, and we have our detailed criteria. And if it meets the criteria, we'll give it a shake.
All right, sounds good. The United States, there really is no bad place. I was on a panel last night for self-storage investors, and one of the big guys there, he's from Detroit, but he said he will never buy real estate in Detroit because the metrics are so bad. I've heard that a lot, but there still are good deals in Detroit. As much shade as people throw at it, Detroit still has good opportunity there too.
I have never been.
Neither have I. All right, moving along. Tools. You've already mentioned one. So tools form the backbone of everybody's business. What is the tool that you rely on the most?
100% ClickUp. You ever heard of ClickUp?
I have
ClickUp.
not. This is new. All right.
It is like Asana and Monday.com times a million.
Ooh,
and I've used
Monday's what I use. So you're talking my love language here.
Yeah. So I mean, if you got what you use, that's fine. I'm not telling you that, but we use ClickUp to run all of ADPI, and Telegram, actually. ClickUp and Telegram. I do my live coaching calls on Telegram, 30 minutes. I set up a call. I'm in, I'm out. It's fantastic. It's super easy to connect. But yeah, ClickUp I use for my short-term rental business. I use it for ADPI. We use it for ADPI Capital. We use it for everything. And I absolutely love it. I am, what am I? I'm a software evangelist at this point. Yeah.
Right on. So I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper there because I just have been looking at other alternatives. I love Monday. I think it's great, but there are some shortcomings. So what is the benefit of ClickUp over Monday?
Yeah, so for me, ClickUp is all about lists and tasks, and you gotta, there is a learning curve. You gotta get to use it. But one of the things I really love is the whiteboards feature, and I can hop on with my team, either do a screen record or do a Zoom, screen share situation, and we can walk through a mind mapping whiteboard. When this person buys this course, what happens? Oh, this automation kicks off and it goes there, and you can draw it out, and we can, in 15 minutes, we have a brand new sales funnel. Nice. Or we have a brand new, we do all of our deal underwriting, and that, like, it's got everything for you. But like any software, there's a learning curve. And I would, everyone on the ADPI team considers me like the ClickUp black belt master, because like, just not everyone is on the team is as astute, but we're all getting there. And if we're able to run a 30+ member team, all virtually, doing a lot of millions of dollars in business a year, then that we couldn't do without this tool. That's a fact. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, once you really get to know a tool, it's amazing what it can do. Even Excel, man. Once you get good at Excel, it's amazing. Oh, yeah. It's so good. All right, that moves us to the very last question, and this is for the listeners. You've given us a lot of good advice. I'm sure there's some active duty guys out there who may want to reach out and get in contact with you. What is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so lots of ways to get in touch. Whether you're in the military, you're a veteran, you don't have to be active duty. We're open to military or active duty veterans, military spouses, military families. Go to activedutypassiveincome.com. It's the best way to get in touch with us. We have a massive Facebook group with over 90% engagement. To give you an idea, engagement on most Facebook groups is like 16%. So, it's pretty awesome. And then if you want to learn more about ADPI Capital and what we're doing with that front and how we're connecting the community, to, and creating this massive opportunity for passive investors, that's just adpicapital.com. And that has all of the information that you need. And, we're rocking and rolling with that. And it's really exciting.
Right on, man. Well, that wraps it up. I will put those links in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out to Kevin and learn a little bit more about ADPI Capital, just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description, and in there you can find the URLs. That does wrap it up. So Kevin, thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks, Gabe. My pleasure.
Absolutely. And for everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com.
Other than that, hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.